We have never been more residentially segregated by income in our history as we are right now. So it becomes harder and harder for middle-class Americans to envision what life in poverty is really like. And when we don't have that picture, we craft policy based on our assumptions. And as we grew farther and farther apart from the poor, the more and more likely it is that our assumptions are going to be wrong. I study urban poverty and family life, but what's distinctive about my work is I go out in communities and talk to people. We hang out with people in their homes, follow them through their daily lives, and try to gain insight by observing and interacting with families in the context of their homes and neighborhoods. And indeed, we found that children have never been exposed to such a great degree of instability and complexity as they are in today's bottom 2/5. So trying to understand family structure as both a consequence and a cause of poverty is another key mystery. And the Bloomberg Distinguished Professorship is a tool, right? Because in my view, the key to really making change in the world is to get that good, fresh, unique idea. But the problem with being a person who's high on ideas is sometimes your ideas need proof of concept before they can be funded. For example, right about the time I came to Hopkins, I'd been doing work here in Baltimore among low-income households, and I kept running into families who had no cash coming to the household. They might have had a housing subsidy or maybe not, but they had no cash. And I was able to use some of the Bloomberg funds to research whether we could see evidence in the data that the number of households with children living on virtually no cash had risen, and indeed we found that the rise was dramatic. In fact, today about 3 million children are spending at least 3 months a year in a household with less than $2 per person per day in cash. I mean, even for somebody who's studied poverty for 25 years, this was so different and so a deeper form of poverty than I could have even imagined existed in this country. And 70% of these households have had an adult in the formal labor market in the last year. So that's actionable information, right? We can work with employers to try to create a race to the top. We can work with legislators to make it less onerous for employers to hire people full-time, full year. That's information we can work with on a policy level.
Kathy Edin brings such a unique skill set to be able to embed yourself in the lives of people in community and tell their stories that complements like quantitative data. The richness of her work really helps policymakers and other public investment partners to really understand what happens in the lives of real people.
In fact, everything we do engages directly in policy, whether it's housing policy or family policy or educational policies. And there's nothing that I like better about my job than being generative with junior faculty and graduate students, where the benefits of the Bloomberg professorship can spill over to others. Because we want to really address the morally urgent questions of our day.